right, and welcome back to episode 24 of the Hops and Bops podcast. I am producer Tom.
This is Joe. This is Mike.
And we have a guest on this episode. It is our very good friend Trevor. How you doing, Trevor?
I'm doing well, Tom. How about you?
Not too bad, not too bad. And so today we have chosen the album As Daylight Dies Special Edition by Killswitch Engage. And the beer we have matched is the Toasted Blonde by Bar. Now these are both picked by Trevor,
So as you can tell, they're both either my favorite album or one of my favorite beers. So
I guess we'll see. So
Shall we?
Yeah, these are very big.
Yeah, these are the 32 Crowler cans.
I would say that that's an appropriate size for a beer, actually.
Yeah. All right. Nice. Oh, can't tap.
Mine just splattered.
Yep.
Elbow spritz. Did you rip the top off, Joe?
It came
No,
right
look.
off. It
It's like
cracked right off.
like a loose tooth.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, you gotta report the side.
So I wasn't eavesdropping before, but I did hear you talking about the type of glass a blonde ale should be consumed out of.
Yes, so my internet expertise right here says a tulip glass, which I chose the glass it looks kind of like that. So.
Nice.
Yeah, a little Omegang. We got to do some of their beer at some point.
Yeah, right. They're a big one.
Was that Cooperstown?
I think so.
Yeah, somewhere near.
Yeah.
Maybe we can go to the Hall of Fame and just record one there.
Perfect.
That would actually
I'm
be
never
sick.
bad.
I mean, they're
wanna
kind of quiet this year because they didn't vote
go.
a class.
Nobody
so.
went in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. We're going in.
And
All right,
we're on a
cheers.
different track.
Cheers.
Welcome, Trev. Very
Thank
good.
you.
Yes,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
having me.
Of course. So, Bar, New
wow.
Haven,
It's solid for
Yep.
10
New
a.m.
Haven, Connecticut. Part of the, they're also known for their pizza.
Yep. They're
Part of
mashed
the-
potato and bacon in particular.
Yes, that is my
Oh.
personal favorite
Have
from
we
them.
been there once?
We?
Yeah.
I've been there many times.
I know you
I've been
have.
there.
Because the back room is a nightclub, and
Yeah.
if walls can talk.
Didn't we go
Joe
there
had a good
and
time back there
Take me
many
anywhere.
times.
I think we went there one time and somebody literally brought in a pizza or had a pizza from there walking around handing out slices.
I don't doubt it.
No.
That sounds about right.
That was a different drunken night.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
you did have their pizza because I left it here once. I forgot it in your fridge and you ate it. So
Nice.
And I'm sure it was delicious.
Yeah.
you said it was. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how on the can itself it says who it was canned by and like how it was actually written in.
Yeah.
Although I don't think this is a real name because this one it says Pamela Canderson.
Well,
Oh,
I've got Abe Froman, who I believe is the Sausage King of Chicago. So,
So I'm going to assume these aren't legit.
these are aliases.
Although that's clever.
also to point out the elephant in the room, they spelled Connecticut wrong on their can. So
Yeah. It's okay, it happens.
apparently they were having a few too while they were,
Oh yeah, they
choosing
did.
the label.
Yeah, like how they just kind of
Yeah.
scribbled it out.
Well,
on
that
that
would
one.
be what we would do. We're not buying new cans.
Yeah, nope.
Fuck that.
Yeah, you have a few beers, you type in the keyboard, finger slips. Like, yeah,
It
whatever.
happens. It happens.
You know, it took, let's be honest. We were all in middle school before we could legit spell Connecticut. So.
Yeah, right. I still can't spell Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
And banana. I have to spell out the
Although
Gwen
Mississippi-
Stefani. I have to spell out the Gwen Stefani, so I legit sit there in my head. B-A-N-A. Okay, got it.
This
Yep.
shit.
We all
Mississippi.
knew how to spell Mississippi by the time we were, what, 10? 5? 10?
Yep. PP.
Honestly, though, if they didn't cross it out, I probably wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah. Well, this is generic can.
That is also
For-
true.
It's the con beer.
Yeah, any beer. So this is their blonde ale. That's the name of it. Blonde ale, 4.2%. For me, Trev, I'm glad you brought this because if I remember correctly in the archives, this is my first experience of any kind of like local craft brew ever that I've ever had. It's like, when I was, younger 20s. This is the first one I had, and it's kind of sentimental for me. And I love it. It's a great beer.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just, when we were just turning 21, there weren't these craft beer breweries, at least not in the area that I was in. So this was kind of the only experience you had. And when you were drinking it, you didn't even really know it was craft beer. You're like, oh, they brew their own beer here. I'll have one of those.
Right.
There wasn't the same appeal to it that there is now.
It's got a beautiful, nice clear color. And for being so... Anytime I see a beer that's this color, you kind of throw right back to, the Bud Light and the Coors Light. And you're like, oh, it's really light. And this has so much more flavor and body
Oh,
to
yeah.
it than those do. But
For
it's
sure.
just, to see and to be
To see
such
through.
a light beer. Yeah. I mean, so many of the beers we have are cloudy and dark. And,
Yeah.
Yeah, this looks like it'd be in a beer commercial in a glass like this.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, it's a pretty pour.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, I brought it because it is one of my favorite beers. I have a different taste in beer than a lot of craft beer drinkers. Everybody's into the IPAs, the bitterness, the hops. I'm more into the ales, the lagers, the smoother drinking beers. This one's got a toasted kind of flavor to it, not overpoweringly smoky.
Yeah.
But it's still there. It's still got the bitterness from the hops. And it's just an incredibly drinkable beer that pairs well with mashed potato and bacon pizza. So,
Oh, I can see that. That sounds so good,
Again,
though.
so it says that blonde ales, golden ale, whatever you want to call it, are tend to be a more approachable style, and I can see
Oh.
that. Someone who's not huge into beer, like this is a good segue
Like
into gateway. Yeah, this is the marijuana of of beer.
This is what leads you to IPAs.
And then once you're at porters, you need help.
Yep.
It's let's see, it's lighter in color, lighter in bitterness, generally only between like 4.1 and 5.1 for the ABV, so nothing too crazy with the alcohol content.
Yeah, this
Says
is
it-
below that. Way below, 4.2.
Yeah,
that's why I got to drink a quart of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the food pairings I have listed are spaghetti and meatballs, super specific, pepper jack cheese,
Oh.
and for dessert, sugar cookies.
Oh.
I can see the sugar cookies.
And do we have any of this available?
The glassware and serving temperature, as Trev has already stated, is tulip, which is the way to go with the glass, at 45 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's
Cool,
about
cool.
there.
Yeah.
Got the space heater.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm trying to get us up there. We're in about 35 right now.
It is on.
Oh, yeah. It took care of us
Yeah.
today. It was a little chilly.
Thanks.
No problem.
Toasty right next to my bum.
So, yeah, they... Looks all pretty good.
Cool.
Soft body.
Oh, hey. Hey, baby. You got that soft body.
Are we still talking about beer? Or?
Listen,
We never know.
you're a girl with a hard body, get out of here.
Too many sit-ups.
What a name, by the way. Bar. Just,
Yeah, bar.
they snagged that.
Yeah.
Bar.
Yeah,
They've
really.
been around for a while.
They have, yeah, and I love it. Like they describe themselves in a can: brew pub, brick oven pizza, dancing, and that checks all the boxes
That's
for
it
sure.
in a nutshell, really.
Yep.
That's all I need, really.
They have a lot of other beers too. They rotate through a few different ones, but more often than not, I'm getting this one. So I will occasionally try another one of their newer beers. I think they got a Scotch ale that I haven't had yet, but
Yeah. Where are they out of
this
again?
is my go-to.
New Haven, right in the heart.
Yeah.
What
Crown
is it?
Street.
Crown Street, yeah.
Cool.
Louis' Lunch is right
Yep.
across the street. It's like the birthplace of the burger.
I knew that.
Yeah, and Mamoon's is right down the road. Very good Middle Eastern food.
Yep.
All late night insomnia cookies is right around the corner.
We go
I
to
mean,
Haven?
yeah, it's
Oh yeah,
It's crazy.
When I have jury duty in New Haven, I'm eating good for that week.
you got every meal down. Well, fellas, should we transition into the album now?
At some point.
No.
No. All right, cool.
Just
So
beer
bar
talk.
New Haven, they have pizza.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I think Cool.
Anyway.
Pizza, dancing, and excellent beer. So
I swear to God, the first time I went there, I mean, you walk in, it's like a typical brew pub bar, has a pool table,
Yeah.
typical counter, lights at a reasonable brightness. Then all of a sudden you walk in this doorway into the back, and it's like, like New York City, like, I couldn't believe it. I was floored, and then I just couldn't stop going. My friends and I would go all the time. It was great. But hopefully after this COVID stuff ends, that reopens in the back there so people can enjoy it.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right, let's do it.
Yeah. Trev, your pick?
Yeah, as daylight
yeah,
dies.
it's Daylight Dives. It is Howard Jones's sophomore album with Killswitch Engage.
Yes.
As you like to use that term.
Yeah.
He's listened.
Someone's
Done
done
his
some
research.
research.
This came out, and this was kind of my introduction to the genre. I got both this and their previous album, End of Heartache, from Mike.
Yes.
And started listening to that, and this really is what opened up an entire new genre of music to me. I know you were talking a little bit on the Machine Gun Kelly album that's kind of like a introductory to a lot of other people as far as like maybe a newer generation to the pop punk. Well, this was my introduction to metalcore, and I enjoyed it immensely at the time, and wanted to go through it again to see if it held up.
Wow, Trevor.
Is that it?
You did your research. Well done. Yeah. So for me, I don't know Killswitch as much. Obviously, I know them, but I haven't listened to a lot of their albums. This is my first album all the way through, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. So and I'm happy we did this because I really enjoyed this album. This is a great album. So this is the second of 3 albums with Howard Jones, right?
Yep.
Yes.
I'm surprised Howard Jones only did 3 albums with them. I know he was their second singer, but I just figured they did more.
So he did have some issues going on, I think, at the time of the 3rd album, which caused him to kind of leave the band and just get himself together.
Yeah.
You know? And then he eventually came back with Light the Torch, and their album's really good. So I was thinking about doing that one.
Yeah, so the talks that I've all heard, was that he had some personal stuff going on between like mental health and substance abuse, and he had a lot of different things that weren't, really working well for him at the time. He comes in after Jesse Leach left the band.
And how many albums did he do?
Jesse Leach did the first two.
First two.
2 previous.
And then he's done 2 or 3 since.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's come back and done 2 or 3 since. They did have a filler at one point, 𝘿𝙏𝙏𝙚𝙏 of All That Remains. He was their touring vocalist.
My brother saw that
during
show.
the
I did too.
transitions.
I saw that show. It was, it's kind of funny. I've seen Killswitch Engage at least like 4 times, and the first 2 or 3 I saw them with Howard. Then I actually saw them with 𝘿𝙏𝙏𝙏𝙏, and when I saw him with Phil, Jesse Leach came out and sang with Phil. So the original singer was at that show as well.
That's nice.
So I've actually seen every formation of Killswitch Engage play.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
That's very
I'm just
sweet.
going to pour myself another beer here.
Yeah,
But
keep going.
Go
if
for
you
It's
watch
really
the DVD, and I've got another one of these if you guys want. I'm not sharing this one, but so if you watch the DVD, they put out like a DVD concert.
Okay.
And then also they've got special features. They interview members of the band. 𝘿𝙏𝙏𝙏𝙏's on there. 𝘿𝙏𝙏𝙏𝙏 actually tried out for Killswitch Engage after Jesse Leach left and lost to Howard Jones. So he's very familiar with them and the band. They tour together. I'd say that All That Remains has done very well. I don't think he'd be applying for any other bands now. They've been quite successful.
Yeah. Great voice, too. 𝘿𝙏𝙏𝙏𝙏 really does have a great voice, and so does Howard, and so does Jesse.
On the DVD commentary, I think Justin Foley actually jokes that he's not even the best drummer in the band. So,
Well, no, because Adam's filthy at drums, and then you go and you watch him do guitar, and you're like, oh my god! And he does a lot of some of the screaming and growling too in the background.
Yeah.
So he's got some stuff that he does.
Yeah, I was trying to decipher that. I know all the vocals can't be Howard. It sounds different.
Yeah, that's Adam.
Yeah. So Adam does a lot.
Adam does a lot just in the genre in general. He produces a lot of metalcore albums, including one for August Burns Red. He produced one of their albums,
They're
and
very
he's very well known and stays active outside of Killswitch Engage.
And I love his stage presence because he's just like a maniac and runs around, and he wears like Daisy Duke shorts and a cape.
Yeah. No, when I
It's
saw
just a straight,
like a new age Angus Young.
but it's awesome.
Oh yeah, when I saw them for the Halloween show, everybody dressed up like Jesse Leach had this awesome makeup, this white and black makeup, and all the other guys were dressed up in like these scary costumes, and then there's Adam dressed up as a pizza with a cape on.
It's my kind of guy.
Kept calling himself Pizza.
That's funny.
Great concert.
So now metalcore, the genre itself. I was surprised. I can't say I've heard a lot of metalcore music, but I was surprised at how much like hard punk I heard. Like from our high school days, like kind of the emo genre. Some of the harder bands, I heard a lot of elements from them in this album. Kind of the clean guitar intros and kind of the emotional like screaming and everything like that. And I just always thought they were just a metal band. I didn't think that they were. And a lot of punk elements too. Isn't that a surprise? So there's their 4th album, 2006, 15 tracks, and it adds 4 tracks to the standard release. The last 4 tracks are bonus tracks. One of which is Holy Diver, which we'll get to. Yeah. Cool. So should we run it down?
Yeah, let's start picking away at it.
Okay.
Might as well.
So the first track is, I guess you would call the title track, Daylight Dies.
It's missing the as.
It is missing the as. No as there.
We know Joe's an as guy.
I am an ass guy. Yeah, very good. Man,
Nice.
Good, right?
Found it, yeah.
well done. I thought this was a great song, great album intro. To me, it was like heavy and moshy. I can definitely sense that. And I just know, like right from the get go, you know exactly what you're in for the album. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a great opening song. It's got that kind of it comes in with that electronic kind of you don't really know what's about to happen. Almost like a siren, like a evacuation siren type thing going on. And then it's just those big hits, and then just goes into it. It's just it's a great way to open an album.
So, I mean, I like the intro. I mean, I like that it's. I guess what I like most about Daylight Dies is that it reminds me that I'm listening to As Daylight Dies when I start it up. But aside from that, when I compare it to the rest of the album, I wasn't that impressed with it. So I grade all of my songs into tiers 1, 2, or 3.
Oh, cool.
And Daylight Dies was a tier 3. So
What?
which is odd for the intro, I know, but at the same time, like when I compare it, not just on its own, but because I've listened to this album so many times, I don't think it stacks up to the rest of the songs that are on there.
We might be out of the job. Tears. Damn.
Yeah.
Nice.
Actually, I'm kind of in the same boat as Trevor on that one. Just in general, I feel like I was a bit too young for this album when it first came out to fully appreciate it. I kind of experienced like the reverberations of it. Like, I kind of grew up in like the screamo, emo kind of pop punk era. So my only knowledge of this, like previous to this, was my brother listened to Holy Diver a lot, and it was on his iTunes library. So I was like, oh, that's on my iTunes library. So but I was a little underwhelmed by the intro.
Okay.
All right.
It was fine.
I like This Is Absolution.
Yeah.
Good heavy song. I mean, really, if I'm being completely honest, I wouldn't. This is one of the few, or I would say one of the first albums that we've done where I can say that I don't think there really was a bad song on the album.
I completely agree with you,
They
Mike.
all were, they were all good in their own right. Yes, some songs kind of stood out a little bit more. Some songs maybe sounded a little too close to another song where they kind of were maybe forgettable, but not bad.
Right.
In my opinion.
I agree with everything you said.
A lot of, you're going to hear me say this like 1,000 times in this album, but how in sync the drums and the guitar are throughout the whole album just absolutely sets this band apart from the other bands of like this genre, in my opinion.
Yeah. I also really enjoyed how like these two songs like bled into one another. Like if you listen to them back to back without pausing or anything, it goes right into it. I love that. And so I thought like this, I don't know, for me, I thought it was like a good 1-2 punch to open the album. And I thought the double bass intro was great. Great breakdown towards the end. And I like how it like came down in energy for the chorus. I liked it.
So I guess I've got two reoccurring themes when it comes to this album. One of it, which is my man crush on Howard Jones, because I think he's the best vocalist in the genre. He's got this incredible range, and I think that this song is really, it picks up a little bit more on what he can do than As Daylight Dies. And the second is that just the musicians in the band are incredibly talented. And both of these songs actually starts to showcase that, and that's going to be showcased a little bit more as the album goes on.
But for sure.
It's definitely, I think that Howard Jones shows a little more of his vocal skills in this song than in Daylight Dies.
I do prefer Howard over Jesse. I've listened to a little bit of Jesse's stuff, but I've never been a fan of bands who like primarily scream. It's just not my taste. Howard always had a good balance of singing and intense singing and screaming.
Growling. He really could
growling,
growl.
right. So that's kind of more in my wheelhouse.
Yeah. And then you have Arms of Sorrow, which I labeled as a Killswitch Engage ballad.
Yes.
Like this is pretty much as much of a ballad as you're going to get out of this band.
It's the emo I was talking about. Like
Yeah.
I didn't expect this from them. I always just thought they were straight up metal, but it had some emo elements.
It's got
to
a lot there. There's a lot of emotion in it. I mean, you can tell that he's going through a lot of different things. And if you look at Wikipedia, which is, as we know, our primary source of research,
Sponsored by.
Yeah, right. One of
Should probably start giving
all
them money, huh?
We'll donate $1 on our behalf.
yeah, that big message is on their homepage.
Before you keep scrolling.
Yeah,
all vocals and lyrics are written by Howard. So he writes, for his albums, he wrote all vocals.
Wow.
So you can tell lyrically, too, that there's just... You can hear it in his vocals that the lyrics are coming from him. Like, I don't know, I get that feel when he's singing that, like, everything's out, leaving everything out on his sleeve, like, for that. And this was probably my favorite song on the album. Everything, the drums, the guitar, everything's just so in sync. The hook, the chorus, it's just so catchy. And then, as Joe said, it kind of throws you for a loop because you almost don't expect this type of ballad-ish song coming out of a band that's as heavy as they are.
yeah. Kind of reminded me of their song "End of Heartache" from the previous album. Had a lot of elements to that.
And I love that song.
Yeah. Oh god.
That was actually my
great
first
song.
ever song I heard from Killswitch.
I'm
End
sure
of
that's
Heartache.
a lot of people's first Killswitch. I mean, they were
Mine
huge
included.
for that song.
Yeah.
I didn't even hear of them.
It was
before.
2004, Tom.
Yeah, I was 5. No, I was 6. What am I talking about?
Yeah.
I mean,
so.
it's interesting.
Big
that you
difference
mentioned-
there. I wasn't 5.
I was in
6.
first grade.
How dare you? I was reading Magic Treehouse books.
My half birthday is in this month. All right.
But it's interesting that you mentioned that the Arms of Sorrow is your favorite because that was one of my candidates for a dark horse. Definitely a tier 1. A very deep, powerful vocals. Howard Jones gets into mental illness and depression and anxiety. And he really, I mean, if he started showcasing his vocal talents in This Is Absolution, he's got it all going now in The Arms of Sorrow. So
And this was their second single on the album.
Okay.
So it was their second release single. Yep. And right in the area we expect a single, song 3.
Song 3
Yep.
follows right suit. Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, such a strong fucking song.
That was a great song.
And then you come in with Unbroken, and it's just like another punch in the balls. Like
Yeah.
just bam, it hits you
Yeah.
hard, and it just goes. It has a great chorus. I love the whole through adversity, there's redemption, like the lyrics. Again, this is such a lyrically strong album.
Yeah.
Right, Joe?
Sure. So I basically put all my juice into those 3 episodes. What was it? Ariana,
Yeah. Is that Lou?
Eminem.
Eminem, and Machine Gun Kelly, and my brain can't take anymore. So I'm taking the rest of the year off lyrically.
Joe's not a lyric guy, and
No.
he blew his load on those couple.
Yeah, I put it all in. I will say, maybe at this point, maybe a few songs later, I kind of realized, like, okay, this is the album. And, not in a bad way, but the songs are kind of formulaic. Yeah. I'm expecting a lot of the same, kind of song elements, which is not a bad thing. I really like this album, but kind of like a couple albums in the past, we've said you put it on for a vibe. Like, if I'm doing something I want high energy, like I need a pump up, I'll throw this album on, and I may not be paying attention to what song I'm in.
Yeah.
But it's
I
not
get
a
that.
knock. That is not a knock. But that's kind of how I approach it because
Metalcore is
It's a knock.
AC/DC.
Yeah, so I did.
That's you know what? That's really that's a good example.
Yeah.
So it's a good that you mentioned that because I also made that realization farther in the album.
Yeah.
The song that we're on right now, Unbroken, it's very uplifting, and you'll find that that's kind of a reoccurring theme in at least the Howard Jones Killswitch Engage albums. In the documentary, actually, Adam D mentions that at the time there were a lot of metal bands that were making these very like depressing and angry lyrics, like Slipknot kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And Adam D mentions that he didn't want to make metal for people who were angry and pissed off. He wanted to make metal for people who wanted to listen to metal.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
a lot of his lyrics, they're not like this angry, I hate this, I hate that kind of thing. I got my heart broken, any of that. It's more of the very uplifting, very positive notes. So it's I like it because I'm a fan of that style. I don't want to listen to necessarily metal that's so pissed off and angry at the world. I want to listen to metal because I like listening to metal.
Yeah.
And it's funny you mention that because going back to Slipknot, I remember for a while there after not Chad Gray.
Corey Taylor.
No, but the Paul Gray, the bassist, he overdosed, and that was like a real big turning point with the band. They put out 0.5 the Gray album and all that. And one of the big things Corey Taylor said was before they even came out with We Are Not Your Kind, there was a pretty substantial gap there, and he said he was no longer that angry kid. So he didn't know if he could continue with Slipknot and making that music because people knew it as such angry type of music. So I thought that was really interesting that Trevor brings that up because it is a reoccurring theme throughout metal.
Yeah, right.
The
Third Crowler.
So let's give Tom a second here because you said this Killswitch Engage being the metalcore AC/DC was a good analogy / is a knock on your end.
Yeah.
I'm just curious because
it makes sense.
I
So
want to hear it.
the only two prior knowledge of any Killswitch at all for me was the two most popular singles off of this, which are Holy Diver and My Curse.
Yes.
As I mentioned, I've heard Holy Diver a lot when I was a kid, and now I still love it. And My Curse was on Guitar Hero 3.
Yeah.
So I loved it as a kid. Kind of brought it back in college because I brought it and everyone wanted to play it in my apartment.
Of course.
So as those are the only two I've known, that's kind of the vibe that I'd gotten from the album was like, oh, it's going to sound kind of like this. But it sounded very similar for the entire thing. Then, while that's a good thing because they have really good performances on this album, I think they would have benefited from having a bit more variety in their sound.
I agree with you, Tom.
That's about it.
Yeah. And it's not necessarily a knock for me, but that's their band. That's the music they make.
Yeah.
So
the one thing I think Killswitch Engage has missed the boat with as a whole is they need to do something acoustic because they're so I'm serious, they're so talented. I know. No, but really though, they don't have any acoustic versions of their songs. They don't have anything. Everything is exactly what you're saying. It's the same style. It's heavy. It's things like that. And they have the talent for it.
Yeah.
They have the vocals talent for it. I don't know. I just always felt like they never did anything. You're right. They kind of stuck to a formula and they ran with it, and it really did work for them.
Right.
And now it's like they've built this band that they need to reach a little bit. Can they do something a little different? And so I definitely think that's something in the future that they need to dive into and kind of would be cool to hear some different stuff with.
Yeah.
I think it would be a bit difficult to put the screaming to acoustic. But I mean, there's the way you could.
Seven Dust, did it. They scream and they made it work.
But even Howard Jones' current band, Light the Torch, they did a Octane exclusive, acoustic session, and he did a full blown acoustic 3 or 4 songs, and it was really, really good.
Yeah.
I could see End of Heartache being a really cool hybrid acoustic version.
Oh,
or
listen
something.
to End of Heartache. We keep talking about it.
Yeah, it's a great song. Such a great song.
Oh,
I just meant the album in general.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I want to listen to the album.
That was actually on my future albums that I kind of pushed off because Trevor called for this one, and I was like, okay, I'll push mine off for a while.
Yeah. I definitely would be into that.
So the next song is My Curse. I mean, again, similar. That was their first big single.
Yep.
Lead single of the album, right?
Yeah. My favorite part of this song is when they do the "This Is My Curse."
I was gonna say that
because the drums are.
It's just locked in. Yeah.
It's just so tight.
Yeah.
The drums and vocals are just on point. I love this song. If it wasn't a single, I probably would have picked it as sleeper or my number one, but I let it be because it's just
the biggest song on the album.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
and sometimes the singles are corny or
it's a great single.
It's a great single. This is a great song. It's a good representation of who they are, where they are at this time in the band for this album. Great song.
And it had the guitar work to put it on a Guitar Hero.
Yeah,
exactly.
Game, so just that do. It was fun to play.
I beat it at medium level. So.
Hey,
I don't want to brag or anything, but ladies, I'm taking. So
Saved yourself there.
An interesting thing about this song is that they come out with radio singles for both this and End of Heartache, which eliminates Howard Jones's screaming to try and appeal to a more broad audience.
Really?
Interesting.
Yeah, so there's a radio edit, and then there's an album edit for this single and End of Heartache.
I'd be really interested to listen to those back to back.
So it's I don't even know. I guess you'd have to YouTube the radio edit.
Yeah,
probably.
They do have it, and it's just I think that was their attempt at trying to get more to people who weren't into the screaming.
Yeah.
And I think that it worked, but I listened to it and I'm like, this just isn't as good because now I'm used to, the screaming aspect, that heavier, higher octane kind of vocals.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Then they went on to For You, a little off timing, which was kind of cool. They do this a lot actually. Yeah. Which bands like them, which I mean, I guess you consider them, metalcore, but I'd say they're a little more mainstream than some of the real deep heavy metal bands. Yeah. And you don't see a lot of the off timing because unless you're a musician, or it's kind of off putting.
Right.
And our last album that we reviewed, Rush, it's another idea of that constantly off time.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But also it's a different style of music, different era, the whole deal. But I just think they do a really good job at making these off times like feel good.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You can listen to it and it doesn't feel like something's off. Like you realize, oh wow, they're playing it so well.
Yeah.
It's just the rhythm. It's just their beat. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually enjoyed this song quite a bit. Like Trevor mentioned before, I really enjoy the metal that necessarily isn't really melodic but is more angry. When I listen to metal, I kind of want to just get in a fight or something really angry. That's my outlet of rage is metal. So this was there was less singing on it, which he's a good singer, but if you want that vibe that gives off, the riffs and the really heavy and visceral guitars that open the track gave off those really cool vibes, which were wild and all over the place. The drums go crazy on this track too. Yeah. They back away and bring it back in to keep it really exciting. It was a pretty nice track for me. I enjoyed it.
I actually thought I know the intro was kind of off time, and I appreciate that as a drummer, but that was kind of messy. I don't know. It's just kind of busy. I thought maybe they could have simplified it just a little bit and still have the off timing, but it's not like I said, I personally don't think there's an awful song in the album. Yeah.
So the next, Still Beats Your Name, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was a good song. This was one of the ones that started kind of losing me a little bit, wasn't quite the same beat, didn't have the same drive to it. The chorus vocals, in my opinion, redeemed this song. The chorus vocals were good, but, after that, the song kind of just, I guess, became more forgettable, more background, and a little less, stuck out to me.
Yeah.
This is kind of where I started to notice that the lyrics don't have a lot of variety. The songs are starting to blend together a little bbit more at this point in time in the album.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I wrote for mine too. Was that this is where you know what you're gonna get from the album.
Right.
You still have standouts later in the album, but after this track, it's this is Killswitch.
So this is 7 out of the 11 original tracks, I think.
Yeah, for the standard. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to, or at least for me, to review it specifically after this because the performances are really good. You're not gonna put a knock on the musicianship, but the songwriting and everything else that comes with it for me is just not there for me.
We said it's formulaic. It's,
right.
That's what I literally.
It's not bad.
If I look through 8, 9, 10, really 8, 9, and 10 right now, and you can even add 7 to it. There was one thing that stuck out to me in each of those songs, the chorus vocals, the guitar riff, the drum. There was one part that was good, or a little better than the rest. Nothing was bad, but for the most part, these next, I'd say 3 or 4 songs were really just, hey, good song.
Yeah.
Hey, not bad. Hey, 11, I will say, Reject Yourself had a great intro. I love the guitar and the scream vocals. That was actually my sleeper song. I really, really enjoyed that song. That was one that finally stuck out again after a handful. All of a sudden, this song hit, and I was like, well, wait, caught my attention. Kind of like separated itself from the pack.
Yeah. Good, good ending song to the original album.
Yeah. And honestly, I forgot
Yeah.
that the original ended at 11, so I completely forgot that was even the last, technically the last song on the original.
Yeah. I thought Howard's vocals were great, like just soaring vocals, good example of what he can do.
Yep. So now we start the bonus tracks, or the special edition.
Well, I mean, does anyone else have any? We kind of skipped over like 4 songs.
Oh, I
did not at all.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
that does kind of show that this album is starting to do a formula. You're starting to blend together the songs.
Yeah.
But bonus track means bonus beer, so
Love it.
And a bonus squirt.
I love it. I will say the song "Eye of the Storm."
Yep.
I really enjoyed the bass guitar work. It like you can hear it nice and clear. It was like lockstep with the actual guitar.
It's funny,
so I enjoyed that song.
funny you mentioned the bass. So not to skip too far ahead, but going to Let Bridges Burn.
Yeah.
Which was the second. I'll be honest, number 12, B1.
Thank you.
That was, for me, the most forgettable song on the album. The first song coming into the bonus tracks was the most forgettable. Like, that song right there, I was like, I don't know what that's doing to push the album any further. That was just me.
Yeah, for me, I put down that there's a reason why this song is on the bonus tracks.
Makes sense, yeah.
I can interchange it with any of the other songs that I labeled tier 3, and it wouldn't really make any difference to the album.
Yeah.
So
That's how I felt with a lot of the bonus tracks.
Yeah.
I felt that any one of them could slip into the first 11, the standard release, and you'd be fine.
Yeah.
You either wouldn't know or it'd be fine. Like, I don't know.
Even like This Fire, though?
Yeah, This Fire's a great song.
Oh, yeah. So there's 4 bonus tracks. The first 2 of them, I would say that I agree with you. And then the next 2, I'd say that I would disagree with you.
Yeah.
Because This Fire, to steal Joe's term, is a banger.
Yeah.
I don't know how it didn't make it into the original album.
Right.
It was absolutely incredible. High octane, vocals, everything was there. It just all came together in this incredibly, like, I want to run through a brick wall while listening to this song kind of tempo.
And they threw in that spoken part too, which just like kind of threw you for a loop a little bit, which like, oh, you didn't expect it, but it worked. It added to the song and it actually worked.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's interesting. This really only gained popularity, This Fire anyway, when it was introduced, I think, as a wrestler's.
WWE.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
And
I knew there was something about it.
And then everyone was like, wow, this is really good. And then Killswitch is like, oh, should probably put this on the album.
Whoops.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you got Holy Diver. Once again, I didn't make it my number 1 or anything, only because it was a cover and it was, I don't know, it's just everybody knows it, so I picked something else.
Yeah.
But one of the best covers, period.
yeah, I put that too. Possibly one of the best covers of all time.
This is how you cover a song.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
You respect the original and you kind of keep to that in some ways, but you make it your own.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is how you cover a song.
I mean,
love
the
it.
drums were awesome.
Oh.
The guitar was awesome.
Yep.
The vocals were awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it actually topped higher than the original Ronnie James Dio Holy Diver.
I believe
on
it.
the
I like it
Billboard
much better
charts.
than the original.
Personally, there's only 2 covers that I am comfortable to say are better than the original. Only 2. And that is Holy Diver and then Shine Down Simple Man.
Yeah.
Those are the only 2 covers that I can say with like all certainty are better than the originals.
Wow. Yeah.
And yeah, this one makes it. It's just unreal.
For me, because I said I'm not as experienced with Killswitch, like this is one of the songs like I heard a lot, Holy Diver, and when I listened to the rest of the album, I was surprised at how well this song and their version of it fit in with their sound and their formulaic kind of way of making songs. So I thought it was great, but I wish this was on the standard release. I mean, I guess now with Spotify and all that, it doesn't fucking matter. Like,
No.
I didn't buy that CD. You know, I got to buy this one.
Yeah.
Now. Like, just dial it in. You just.
But again,
you know,
this was actually for a magazine. I think they did some cover, Kering.
Oh
And,
yeah, Kerrang.
Once it got really popular, again, it was one of those moments where they're like, "Oh, we should probably put this on the album." Huh? So
Yeah.
Yeah. No, as a kid, I didn't even know the song was a cover.
Yeah.
But no, I love what they did with the song. As Joe said, they changed it to match their own sound, but they didn't,
They kept
muddy
the
it up
bones.
too much.
They
yeah.
kept the bones. Yep.
But no, I definitely agree. I listened to the Dio version the other day. They have just like a minute and a half
Oh,
intro.
just wind
Yeah.
and rain.
Just
and
weird.
it's,
Like it's cool, but like you're not gonna want
it
to
was
listen
very
to it too
what,
much.
70s, 80s,
Yeah.
whatever
I think
it was.
70s.
Might be
or
late 70s.
Yeah.
But what a way to end it! Like you
Oh,
just,
yeah, with
you
Holy
just
Diver.
end it, bam.
Definitely.
Yeah, this
Right.
fire, Holy Diver, done. And
Done.
it was-
I would have preferred this Fire and Holy Diver on the actual album.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And, I don't need it to end at 11 tracks. I think, 13 would have been fine.
Yeah.
But again, I just feel like a lot of the bonus tracks could be swapped in and out. So that's kind of my thing about the extended version, the special edition.
Yeah, and for this fire, they screwed up. They should have put it on the original album.
Yeah.
As far as Holy Diver goes, I want to say that one was recorded after the album came out, and they just
Yeah.
kind of had to
Like tack it on.
throw it somewhere.
Yeah.
So put
True.
it on the special edition.
That's true.
Yeah. So
Cool.
awesome.
So let's talk about our key tracks.
This beer's
Trev.
delicious, by the way, though.
Yeah, this is a great
So
beer.
good. This is the most beer Tom's drank in like any podcast.
I'll have to wait for Paul.
Trev, start us off. We'll do our top track.
Well, for me, the top track is I'm going to go, nothing original here, but My Curse. Yeah, that song had it all. And
Yeah.
a lot of times you're like, oh, the single, it's just, it's mainstream, it's supposed to be for something, but the single often charts because it's also really well written.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and this
Well said.
just had everything. It had that guitar, the drums, the vocals. That riff. It really, it's a number one song.
Yep.
So by any measure.
Cool.
So,
I went with Holy Diver, but I feel like you can go with either of those two for me. I love what they did with the song. They made it more epic and heavy while still keeping the melodic sides of it intact. I thought the singer's harmonies were really on point. The chugging guitars, the fills were really solid. The solo at the end was really nice too. His growls were good and on point, and when layered in with the singing, it created this cool duality, and it's definitely a headbanger of a track for me.
Is it bad that I put Holy Diver as my favorite song? I don't know.
I just did that.
Right, you just did it.
No,
right.
it's fine.
Right. So, in case I do my Joe typical fashion, no, Holy Diver and My Curse.
Oh, okay. All right.
Both standout tracks for me. Those are my top tracks from this album for sure, for all the reasons we've said.
I actually went with Arms of Sorrow.
Yeah.
Really?
It just, I love that song. I love the fact that it's like the heavy ballad, just so different from a lot of bands will do. And it's just the freaking chorus and that hook that, in the arms of sorrow. That just great. Fucking love that song.
Nice. Yeah, it's a good track.
But what was your least favorite?
Yeah,
My
least favorite.
least favorite was, the first on the special edition. My least favorite was B1. I thought that there was nothing. It was okay. Nothing really stand out about it. Super forgettable. Just kind of was, hey, we're gonna do a special edition, and then oh fuck, you start with this. It was just a throwaway song that again was why they probably put it on the extra. Hey, we made the song. It's not that great, but we're just gonna throw it in there anyway.
Yeah.
So, Trev.
like I said, I ranked them tiers 1, 2, and 3. I could have picked any of the tier 3 songs as the worst one. There was nothing that was distinctively bad about any one song. They were just kind of
Right.
So
Yeah.
push came to shove, I'd probably say B1.
Okay.
I could have also said Let the Bridges Burn or any of these other ones, but I'll go with that one. It wasn't. They kind of knew it, right? They threw it on the special edition, I guess. This didn't make the cut.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
does it make it a terrible song? No,
No,
but it's just,
not at all.
it's not special either. So,
Yeah.
I'm kind of similar, Like we said, there's not any track where you put it on, it's oh god, this song's awful. But, if I had to choose one, I would pick Desperate Times.
Okay.
I thought the hook wasn't really that good. It was a bit too slow for me. With metal, obviously you can do whatever you want with metal, but I personally prefer it a little bit faster and heavier because that's what the genre kind of gravitates me towards. The solos were very regimen and we're just in. They didn't really break out of that mold too much, and they didn't really play to their strengths on it for me. So yeah.
Okay. I like it.
I put For You just because of that busy intro and I don't know. I didn't really see the need. But again, it's not a bad song. I like the song. I just like all the other songs better. You know,
sense.
and so I just put For You.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. So Dark Horse, Sleepy Dark Horse.
I love that phrase.
Sleepy dark.
We can't figure. I think that's it. I think it's the sleepy.
The
dark
Sleepy
horse.
Dark Horse.
He's going to sleep.
Yep.
He's in his manger.
I think that's what we have to start calling. it.
So whenever we do these like deluxe special edition albums, I try and choose one from the standard release and one from like the bonus tracks. So my Sleepy Dark Horse from the standard release.
It's gonna take 7 episodes for us to say that without laughing.
I know. Eye of the Storm. I thought this song was badass,
Okay.
and I think you should listen to it. It's a prime example of how good musicians they are. And that bass guitar, you don't really hear a lot of bass guitar, stand out. And on this song, yes. And so I thought he did a great job on this. And then from the bonus tracks, I like This Fire. Like that should be on the fucking album, like the actual album, and a great song. So those are my 2.
I went with Reject Yourself. I just thought it had a great intro. I loved the guitar. I loved his screaming vocals in it. And then, funny part was it ended the original album, which I completely forgot about because I was just already in special edition mode. To have that as the last song to end an album, I just thought was fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, it was just such a fucking punch in the nuts way to end. And just really, to be 11 songs in and have a song that still kicks that much ass, that was a go-to for me.
Yeah, so for me, I'd probably go with This Fire as far as my Sleepy Dark Horse goes.
I love it.
It was just, it had everything for me, and what made it a dark horse is that it was overlooked even by the band themselves. They didn't include this on the actual album. Even though it became quite a popular song, I'd still call it the dark horse. If I was going to pull the Joe Sod and choose 2, or pull a Mike and only choose one off of the original album, I'd probably call The Arms of Sorrow as my dark horse, even though it was released as a single. It was just a very, very strong performance that I think is overlooked even by people who listen to the album. So.
Yeah. So when I was doing my notes, I didn't realize how popular My Curse was. So I picked My Curse and My Sleeper, but then I went back and realized, that's definitely not a sleeper at all. So I went and picked For You, actually. I really enjoyed that track. I really like that intense, all over the place energy. That's what I really like from metal. I don't really like a lot of melodic standard things from it. So the fact that it was so wild and heavy was definitely a big plus for me. So.
Cool.
Nice.
Let's rate it.
Rate this bad boy.
All right.
Trev, this was your album. What you got?
It's my album, so I'm giving it 4.5 stars.
Yeah.
Really?
Hops or bops or whatever the heck
There
you're
we
doing.
go.
Bops.
We got it.
It's got 4.5 something. Right? So,
That's something.
I mean, look, all right, this is an album that got me into the genre. I wanted to see if it held up. It did. I mean, I obviously like it. I've obviously listened to it more times than I can count. It's heavy. It's high intensity. I mean, all of these songs, the Arms of Sorrow is their ballad, and that one still you can work out to, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, this album is just all the way through, like, representative of the genre. It just goes. It's a lot of energy. I like that energy. So, 4.5 sleepy horses.
One of those.
We're doing so good.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
So this album was a pretty hard album for me to review. I feel like a lot of the album is good on a technical level and not anything to fully argue and complain about. But personally, there was just so much that wasn't memorable in the long run, even though I've listened to this album all the way through at least 4 to 5 times to review this. And I've heard songs off of it before. But just there's a lot of material that didn't really stand out from one another. The only real standouts for me were the songs I've already heard, and the rest just wasn't. It just kind of mushed together. But, don't get me wrong, the musicianship and the skill of all the members of the band are not to be understated. I feel like the performances are outstanding and deserve their praise. But the songwriting, the range that they have, and the overall sound of the album was a little underwhelming. So I'm around like a 2.5 to a 3, somewhere in between there. Like, it was still good. It definitely had a lot of upside to it, but you know, given a bit longer time for me, I probably would have enjoyed it a bit more. But that's where I'm around. So.
Gotcha. That was very well said.
Thank you. I wrote all that down.
Yeah, very well written.
Did that at 1 a.m. last night.
So for me, I gave it a 4. And this kind of falls into a lot of the other albums we said or talked about. It's like a vibe. I'll throw this on if I want to do something aggressive or if I need to pick me up. You know, it's not because I'm listening to a specific song. It's because I'm listening to a good heavy album with good elements on it. So while I did say it was, you know, a lot of the songs were kind of formulaic and things like that, it's not necessarily a knock. They're all great songs. And, you know, I will go to this album in the future. So 4 for Joe. And I want to listen to some of the other albums, especially some of the Jesse albums too, because I want to start a comparison.
Yeah, I mean, Killswitch Engage is one of my favorite, you know, newer metal, whatever you want to call it. I mean, newer, that came out in, you know, 2000, 99, 2000, whatever. I've been listening to them from the beginning of me listening to this genre of music. Like I said, I started with the album in 2004 before this, End of Heartache, but then I backtracked. I listened to Killswitch Engage self-titled. I listened to Alive or Just Breathing with Jesse Leach, and then Into Howard and everything else. I gave it a 4 bops. I've seen them live so many times, and they just absolutely have an unbelievable live show. So there's a lot of, I guess you can say, bias on my end, but I love these guys. They're so talented. You know, even the new stuff. They put out an album, last year? Year before? 2019?
Mm-hmm.
You know, Atonement?
Yeah.
And it's a great album. Like, it's just good. And for a band to still be putting out, you know, really good albums, especially with the lineup changes they've had and everything else, like, they just, you know, it's like Slipknot. You join the band because you know, listen, this is what we're making, and we just got to be good at it. And they're doing a good job with it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
How about the beer? Bar's Toasted Ale out of New Haven.
Blonde.
Toasted Blonde, excuse me. Toasted Blonde. What do we got? Trevor, your beer. You brought it.
Well, I mean, it's my beer. Like, all right, this isn't one of my favorite beers. This is, like, my favorite beer. Okay. I mean, it's top 3, top 2 kind of thing. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's still technically one of my favorites, but it's... If I had to choose, all right, what's your favorite beer? I mean, I'm probably going to this beer. I brought it because I enjoy it so much. And if I'm not going to give my favorite beer 5 hops, then why even bother with that rating? You know,
Nice.
I mean,
okay.
This is the top.
Yeah.
This is it.
Good.
You know, you give me another one of these crawlers, I'll drink it. You know, I mean, I did. Actually,
You got up and got one.
32 ounces, and we drank 3
Yeah.
of them.
Yep.
I mean,
someone can do the math.
you can call it nostalgia because it's what I started drinking, you know, when I was able to actually go to bars. I mean, you can call it just because I remember having it with mashed potato and bacon pizza, which is incredible. I mean, you can just say that it's because my taste in beer gravitates more towards this type of beer. I mean, it really, all of those things. This is it, you know. And, you know, I wasn't going to start off my tenure on Hops and Bops with something that I thought was mediocre. I was going to start it with my favorite beer. So I did.
Yeah.
Well done.
So
Awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm up there too. I'm at about a 4, I would say. You know, it's very smooth. I'd say it's nothing super flashy. You know, it's nothing like super flavorful, and you know, there's no big X factor in it, which is why it doesn't go all the way above for me. But it's really smooth. I could definitely drink a lot of this and not be super worried about it because it's really only 4.2%.
4.2.
Yeah. And I really want some mashed potato and bacon pizza now.
Let's wrap this up quick. We can go.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, I'm at a 4 as well. I mean, this beer is severely drinkable.
Wow.
It's severely drinkable.
Aggressive.
But because it's that good. I think it's that smooth. It's that good. It's you know, it's on the lighter end, but I think that makes it more enjoyable. You can have a lot of it. And for me too, like Trevor said, it's the nostalgic. I remember this is like my first kind of craft beer that I ever had that wasn't a big time label. So you know that whole aspect of it too. So 4 out of 5. Thank you, Bar. Love this beer. I'll always be drinking it.
Nice. Yeah, I'm doing it a 3.5. I liked it. It was good. Went down smooth. I mean, 10 a.m. great beer to drink. Yeah, I mean, you guys know me. I'm a little bit more for the flavor, the hoppy, something a little different. But, you know, when you're just looking to have a solid beer that's not going to kill you, that, you know, you can drink smooth, you can drink quite a bit of, not a bad beer.
Yeah.
So let's give some shout-outs.
Cool. So on Instagram, they're Bar New Haven, all one word. Great pizza, great beer, great times there. Definitely go visit them. Good area too. A lot to do around that surrounding area. And then
Go to the back room.
Yeah, the back room.
Josad will be waiting for you.
No, not anymore. I've retired.
Slice.
I've retired. I will be there in the front room. Front room now.
He's
Pizza and
migrated.
beer. Yeah.
He's migrated.
And then our band Killswitch Engage, just one word on Instagram, and check them out. You know, definitely one of the I guess marquee bands of that genre for sure. Definitely check them out. Cool, very cool. So next episode we have our St. Patrick's Day special.
Can anyone guess who we're gonna play for an album
or what we're gonna drink? I mean, it's pretty typical, kind of basic bitch. But we will be listening to or talking about Warriors Code by Dropkick Murphys. A great album. Can't wait for that. And to drink. Who wants to take the drink?
Guinness.
Yep. But yeah, we're sticking it conservative. We're drinking just straight up classic Guinness. I think I have enough glasses, Guinness actual glasses.
I think I have one over there too.
Okay, yeah.
Cool.
So I think we'll be drinking out of those next episode.
Love it.
So yeah, we have that to look forward to. So great job, Trevor. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Hey, my pleasure.
Yeah.
So
you did a great job.
Appreciate it.
You gotta put in like the fake hand clap in the audience.
I'll see what I can do.
Look, you want me on the show again? I'll show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, outside of the show, you're a good friend of ours.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And Trevor is
Come on back.
notorious for being late, and he was 15 minutes early today.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Saw that.
when it comes to drinking in the morning, he is on
He
time.
was on time, drinking in the morning and talking about music. There it is.
Oh yeah.
So look out for our future episodes. If you're just joining us, go back. We got a lot of episodes for you, a wide variety of different styles and beers and albums. So I hope you enjoy. So Hops and Bops Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. We are streaming as always on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. For Mike and Tom and our awesome guest Trevor, I'm Joe. We'll see you next time. Peace.